Should I start? Maybe start. Okay, let's start. Kip. All right. Okay? It's all right? All right, dear friends. The game is not over yet. We have the final show and 4 exciting presentations. We've been working on them now 2 days, intensive days. I still have my heart beating like we were finalizing in last minute and yelling which term to use. And so, but I'm alive, so, and you seem to be alive too. And let's start. So we have 4 tracks, 4 groups: media policies, CSR and grassroots initiatives, news management, media entertainment and culture offer, and the 4th one, media education room. Let's do the show according to this list. So there would be, first one would be media policies, CSR and grassroots initiatives, and you have maximum 15 minutes. If you have prepared 10 minutes, even better. Because we have until 4 o'clock and we have the final closing performance here and everything that we need 20 minutes for that. But I hope we have time for commenting each other, because I think you are all interested what the others have been doing, okay? And so 15 minutes maximum, and if you make it longer, I start to appear somehow and look very nervous and with all my ways, so prepared. I kick you out on the stage. And you have to stand here because of the camera. You cannot go there or there. Okay, we take care that you stay here. And what else do I have to say? And you don't present yourselves like name by name because it takes too much time. We don't have that much time. But please, those who are in the group, stand up and show, and the presenters then come here. Because it's nice to see who were in that certain specific group. So let's start. The first one on the stage, the group, workshop group, media policies, CSR and grassroots initiatives. All the group members, stand up. I was also one of them. Okay, wow. You take this one, so and nobody else, okay.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. So is this okay? Yeah, here? Just, hi, everyone. Very happy to be the first presenter. I will be presenting on behalf of our very lively and wonderful team who has been debating and exchanging ideas until the last moment. No, change that, put it like this, add this. So it was very, very exciting. And thank you very much for this format. It was quite an experience, and we really enjoyed it. So I will try to stick to the 10 minutes so Päivi will not look, with an evil eye at me. So let's see yeah. So we'll start just with a comment. So as you see, our track was media policies, CSR and grassroots initiatives. But we have, like a subtitle, which is stretching journalism professional identity. And that is because which way we went and approached this, the topic that we had, we always came back to professional identity, to journalist identity, and how in this context of particularly CSR and grassroots initiatives, and particularly with all the challenges that this brought, we saw a lot of change, a lot of elasticity, a lot of stretching of this identity, and we thought that it was appropriate to not just go into media policies and CSR, but also connect this to professional identity in journalism. So Now, related to teamwork, you have here a few of the images. We went the visual route, not the textual route. So here are a few images of how we worked. It was very intense. It was lovely to work together. And in the beginning, it was about, comparing situations. But we went towards exchanging ideas, exchanging approaches, building on each other's experiences and, theoretical backgrounds and research backgrounds. So it was really a very, very dynamic approach to the topic. And let me just say that if we didn't stop and we had one more day, I think we would have set our research agenda until 2040. So now we are at 2030. So what you'll see is the agenda for the next 7 years. All right, so first of all, and this is let's say the most pragmatic one, is our first research idea and first research paper, which will also be our proposal for the JOM submission, which is the CSR response of media organizations in Europe to the war in Ukraine. And we are, of course, going for a comparative analysis. This will be a focal point in our research. So first we set some research questions, some preliminary research questions that will constitute the basis of the meetings that we are going to have in order to develop this paper. So we will be looking at CSR activities that the media organizations in Europe implemented as a response to the war in Ukraine. So what activities were implemented? Of course, very importantly, how were these activities framed? And you can see here that you have some connection to this stretching of professional identity, because developing CSR activities can create tension with the professional identity of journalists. We debated a lot on whether to use conflict or contradiction or other aspects, and now we just stopped at framed, but you'll see that we used this idea of tension for another research. And then, very importantly, what exactly was specific for media CSR? Because during our mapping section, we saw that there were CSR activities, but some were specific or more media-oriented than others. Others could have been implemented by whatever type of organization, not necessarily media. So we also want to look into what is specific for media in terms of CSR activities. So these are the initial research questions for this paper. And as I said, it took some time to, go towards specific directions. So we settled on two. This is the short, the first one was the short-term paper, and this is the medium-term paper, which is about emerging tensions between journalistic mission on the one hand. So you see here this professional identity and CSR in times of war. So when it comes to this, what we see, or what we will want to look at in terms of research questions are, were there tensions, right? So it's not necessarily a given, but were there tensions between journalistic mission and CSR? Then, of course, if there were contradictions or tensions, how were they perceived? But not just how were they perceived, but how they were perceived at different levels of the organization and in different areas of the organization. So we will be looking at managers, at editors, at journalists. Then another dimension is, if there were tensions, how were these tensions managed? Right, so we will also include a managerial approach, but also going into the perception of journalists, so we'll have both perspectives. And of course, this dimension of ethics was present in all of our discussions, and we will be looking at how the tensions affect the journalistic ethics and principles. Right, so these are let's say the initial research questions. Now, so we have questions, research questions for both papers, and we decided to go in parallel with the two and apply similar research methods. First, we'll go towards desk research, qualitative, quantitative, for both papers, and use micro case studies. So the two research methods will be used for both, but the third one, the in-depth interviews, will be used for the second one. There is a pragmatic reason for this, which is March 2024, which gives us too little time to go into interviews, and that's why we will be developing them for the second paper. But because we are setting long-term goals, we will also be including in the interviews questions regarding the professional identity and stretching professional identity, which will inform our endeavors into a third paper, right? So, that being said, we discussed ideas for future work, which I think the jobs submission is missing here, but it was a given. So that will be the first activity. Then we are thinking about going for a grant application, just because we set out to do a lot of things, and maybe it would be nice to have funds for that. Funds are always nice. Then. I think I'm echoing in some way, you know, when the representative from the mayor of Warsaw said, "Spend money in Warsaw." I'm having a similar approach to this, but grants are nice. Then preparing a panel for the next EMA conference, which is connected to the second paper, and will also give us the opportunity to reflect a little bit more and set up building blocks for the third one. And the third one, the one that I was mentioning, is this paper on journalistic professional identity in times of crisis. Plural times, plural crisis. That's the reality we live in. Right, so that was our work for 2 days, but I think it's just a few slides, and the work has been much nicer than a few words can say. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to the team that I work with for the lovely time. Thank you.
Brava. It was exactly in time. So it's nice if we go like this, in rhythm, in fast rhythm, so we have time to comment and open your feelings and emotions at the end before the closing ceremony. So next group is news management group. All group members stand up. Wow. All right, we need two, no. Okay, you just,
Okay, thank you for this applause. Our topic is what the role of fear is in news management, and we would like to start with a scoping study, but as the first group we also have like ideas for the future. I start to present, then you are continuing, and if other group members have ideas, then just say your ideas. Could you go to the next slide? Yeah. So first of all, maybe I would like to describe how our teamwork was going on. So I have to emphasize that we had a really clear communication, so all members in our group were openly sharing their ideas and information. I'm really happy because we were all actively listening what the other participants were saying. We had a very respectful interaction, and we also had like equal participation, so we were all from different contexts, we all had different experience, and I don't know how it was in the other groups, but we were very happy that, yeah, this exchange was so open-minded. Yeah, we had a very positive reinforcement and also very collaborative problem solving and smooth management. So we have to thank our management, of course. And last but not least, but the most important point, we are united in diversity and we are all appreciating sweets. So thank you for that. But let's come to our research idea. So the context of our research was, of course, from the starting point, the Russian war in Ukraine. So as an example for a contemporary crisis. And in terms of the research field, we were all the time talking about news production and news management. So all of our discussions were about different levels, starting from the macro over to the meso to the micro level. And in terms of team resources, we had a very interdisciplinary approach. So depending on research experiences, but also regarding theoretical background and also the method background. Yeah, so now what was our idea? When everyone was presenting about the country, what is going on in news management, we noticed very fast that fear is one of the main topics. So in the tension field between media and news management and this conflict, fear was always one of the main topics. And we were interested, like, okay, when this war started, a lot of newsrooms started to have new practices, have a new organization, and we were wondering, was it just at this part of the news production, or did this already start in an earlier step? Like, for example, also when we talk about researching about new content and so on, so unto the recipient, so all of those different levels. And as an opposite, we also observed that there is like this resilience aspect. We also called it love, so maybe there's a discussion whether we see it as the same point. This idea rose from Francois, but like maybe someone else would to add something. And yeah, I think like this was the tension field from the beginning. Should I add something? Okay. Good, then let's continue. So as I said, our justification for this paper is we were observing some new news practices, and we had like some open questions, like, for example, is there possibly a new paradigm of fear which is arising in news management, and do we have global, national contesting ideologies, frames, discourses? So one example, I think, where we were talking about like how do we frame also words, like is it Russians' war in Ukraine, or is it the war in Ukraine? So how this framing and this term is like also leading to fear in news management. Therefore, we would start with a very broad question, and the question is, what is the role of fear in news management? And as a starting work, we would like to do a conceptual work with a scoping literature review, but the idea is that, of course, there could be also some empirical papers after that.
Okay, so this is, thank you. This is actually, we looked at 3 different levels, how to conceptualize fear and how to actually, if this could provide a roadmap for us when we are doing the literature review, which kind of concepts to look out for. So we sort of looked at these 3 levels of micro, meso, and macro. And the micro is about the individual journalist and how they might be experiencing fear, which could, you know, lead to a self-censorship. But they could also be targeted by institutions and on social media or physically. And, you know, they could be victims of hate speech and they could lose their jobs. And on the meso level, we looked at the organizations, and we actually decided to focus on this level for our conceptual paper initially, that, you know, how is censorship is reflecting on the organizational level and in the management. So there are many issues to unpack there about funding, about government funding, maybe advertising cuts, because if the news organizations or the journalists are not able to focus on certain issues due to this fear, then, you know, it has ramifications for all these issues. And of course, pressure coming from legislation, existing legislation, new legislation, and then eventually they could miss out on diversity of content, diversity in the newsroom, maybe certain ideas or identities cannot be represented, and the business model is affected. So the macro level is, you know, what the implications would be on a societal level, on the discourses, the public sphere. It could eventually lead to a shrinking public sphere, and you know, and in countries like Turkey, for instance, a democratic backsliding, because, you know, it sort of comes as a result of media capture, and, you know, it has implications, broader implications for democratic principles and free speech. So this is like what we are doing so far. So we would like to develop this, these ideas, these concepts on the meso level, and we are aiming to start preparing for a conceptual article, and we are also convinced in our little group that this could be the sort of the ground for a grant application, and we would be happy to have your feedback and any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Elem and Miriam. Great. This goes so well now. Exciting topics, but we talk about that later. Now the third group. Stand up. Media, entertainment and culture offer. Okay.
Thank you, Päivi. First group, 1 person. Second group, 2 people. Third group, 3 people. So the fourth group, we're counting on you to keep up that going. So the third group, we ended up with a title trying to summarize the whole thing, which is United by Media, which is a play on the Eurovision, the Eurosong Festival, United by Music. Looking at how the different media offers changed after the start of the conflict, we clearly identified that question: how does the Ukrainian cultural identity reflect through the prism of media outlets in different European countries? How do I? Yeah, thank you. So teamwork, we had a very interesting group. Very diverse. We had very interesting presentations on the different countries and what happened in the different countries. Belgium, Bulgaria, Germany, Moldova, Poland, and the UK. Looking at all media offers, including the press, the radio, and television. We looked at those different layers. And we had, although we had a lot of diversity, we clearly had common traits that were emerging in the discussions rather quickly. So there was no fighting in the group. That's a good thing. And we discussed about a lot of things to the point that we reached a point where we had gotten away from entertainment and culture, and we had to refocus because we discussed about a lot of things that you guys also talked about. Fear, I heard. But we came back to identity all over, so that's why we chose this title. We identified 4 big axes for the what was it? Yeah, the resource maps. So the context, values, agents, and actions, and it's those through that prism that we looked at the avenues for research and what could be interesting.
Finally, we came up with several different research questions which might be interesting to look at. So we had on the firstly we had this overarching question of how do media in different European countries emphasize the Ukrainian cultural identity in the light of the Russian war. So to look to other countries, to different European countries maybe as well. So this is in the last question mentioned regarding post-socialist countries and other countries of the European Union. What we thought as well could be interesting to focus on is to what extent have Ukrainians been integrated or kept distinct in the host society through the integration or none thereof of the Ukrainian culture and its agents. So basically, we mean by that to look at the fact that, or when we were discussing, we were figuring out that there are some countries like Poland where we have, where you had with the refugees from Ukraine, there were new channels rising, for example, for radio. So we had very, very distinct offers and as well bundled offers of media goods or programming just in Ukrainian language and specifically targeting Ukrainian people. And on the other hand, we had, for example, in Germany and as well, for example, in Belgium, we had more contents from our country, so German contents with subtitles, for example. So there is a slight difference, and we would like to look a bit deeper into that, and what does this mean, and what does it as well mean for Ukrainian people in this regard. And lastly, we hope to isolate what are the historical and cultural path dependencies at play in the media and the media in the context of the Russian war. So there is as well this historic axis that that I already described. So from maybe post-socialist countries where the points of view and the perspectives could differ compared to other more Western society in the European Union. Do you want to add something?
No. But we have more slides. So let me amaze you now with our research methods. So first of all, we would like to do the desk research and literary review for the case studies of legacy media. For instance, public service media, private media outlets, see what were the changes, who actually make the changes to their programs, to their offer, to their products itself. Once we have those information, we would like to do the content analysis of the programming offer. So see basically what are the examples that we can focus on. We decided that we want to focus on the period of 2 months, so February when the war started and the following month, which is the March, because once the war started, there was not enough time to introduce those changes immediately. So we want to see what were the immediate reaction of those media, so in the following month. But we want to see also how it looked 1 year before the war, then during the war, so when the war started, and 1 year later. So whether those changes actually stayed, how they evolve in those periods, and if there are any dependency between those. Later, we want to, based on those information, we want to conduct focus groups with Ukrainian refugees and host country citizens to see how they perceive those changes, whether they noticed some programming offer or did they, for example, didn't see any changes in their media outlets. Once we have those information from the public, from the refugees, we also are interested in the business opinions. So we want to conduct semi-structured interview with media organizations, the representative of those media, to see what are their plans for the future. So moving further to our idea for the future work, the research methods actually are not for the paper that is supposed to came in March. It's a longer project itself that we want to focus on. What we already did, we actually have the first meeting plan, so guys, we are ahead of you in this matter. And, we are really eager to work together in the future. As you can see on the picture, we are very happy, and I think the collaboration in our work group was very effective, and looking further for
for the paper itself, right, and the continuation of our research. So thank you very much.
Xenia, Javier, and Jonas, that was great too. Okay. Then, media education room. Group number 4. All stand up. Okay. You stand here in the middle.
Okay, so our subject was media education, and let's start from the beginning. That we had 7 potential research problems at the beginning, but the 3 most voted ones. Shall we change the slides, please? Is it possible? Huh? So the top voted research question in our group were: how is information resilience addressed in educational strategy? How the outbreak of war affected ethical standards among journalists and our students? And how visual narratives manipulates public opinion? Yeah, so it's the most important one.
Yeah, so we tried to narrow down and focus very much, and we chose like one topic to develop, which was this information resilience. Not only in education strategy, as the first formulation was, but actually in higher education and teaching programs in the area of media and communication journalism studies. The context of the research is that the Russian war against Ukraine has kind of renewed the interest and awareness of information warfare as part of this hybrid aggression strategies, and it is not only within Ukraine. It has obviously like implications, effects, consequences also in other countries. So transnational implications in that sense. We can see information warfare happening in Poland, in Finland, in Estonia, in many countries, by Russia especially. So information resilience can be considered an aspect of security on different levels, on an individual and institutional and national level. And our working definition for this information resilience is kind of the ability to stand where a shock hits. It is an ability to resist information influence, information operations, and the disorder that it causes. It might also mean the ability to cope with disturbing media content more broadly. It's not only about distinguishing between facts and fiction, what is like real news and what is fake news. It's also about coping with the real news that is disturbing, violent, traumatic, yes. Further, media and communication, we think that media and communication professionals contribute to information resilience on a social level, so journalists and other media professionals play an important central special role in this. And therefore it's important to look into the higher education where media professionals are educated in different countries, how they are prepared for this responsibility.
And this point drove us to state some research questions. The first one was, so the general question was, how is information resilience addressed in higher education, media and communication studies in different countries? In different countries, we mean 5 countries that were member of our group, so Germany, Finland, Estonia, Poland and Ukraine. We wanted to know how is information resilience addressed in higher education, media and communication studies teaching programs, the studies curricula. So if there are some lectures or some workshops devoted to develop information resilience, or maybe we do not have this kind of offer for our students. The second research question was, what are the key elements, skills, topics of information resilience in the curricula? So, and we were also curious if our teachers are ready to prepare this kind of lectures, and we are also interested both in not only in the group of our teachers, but also in the group of our university authorities, if they are aware of the need to launch this kind of subject, this kind of workshops for our students. The third question was, what are the specific contexts, crisis, conflicts of addressing information resilience in the curricula in different countries? So we just wanted to know if the outbreak of Russian full-scale aggression in Ukraine changed something, if maybe we added some new new programs or new workshops for the students of our faculties. We just were curious if there is any change in this area. And last but not least question, how do the people responsible for curricula understand information resilience? So if they see the need to launch this, or maybe they are only aware, but they didn't do anything to change it. So that's more or less.
Yes, so we are aiming for a sort of comparative setting, looking at different countries and choosing maybe 3 universities in each country. We still need to talk about the criteria, how to choose. Of course, we want to choose universities that have like media education, media and communication education strongly in their program. And at the first stage, we would look at the curriculum, like texts and how they are organized, what they contain, and we would this would be like kind of like desk research as well. So we would do some kind of theoretically driven thematic analysis. So we need to develop a coding scheme based on literature on information resilience and relevant topics, so that we can all then look at our curricula using the same analytical framework, basically. And at the second stage, we would do in-depth interviews with the people responsible for the curricula, and also maybe people who are using these curricula, so teachers perhaps as well. Yes.
Okay, and the final stage. So our goal was to write a kind of article together to publish this article in jobs, but you know, we will see. Our next meeting will be in like 3 weeks, or maybe more than 3 weeks, and now we try to fulfill these tasks. So first of all, we are thinking about proposal of some selections criteria. What kind of universities or which faculties of journalism and communication to choose, and to what kind of curricula to analyze. We would like also to check if there there are some funding possibilities for us, for maybe a kind of grant or some project. And we would also to look for research team members who do have some skills that maybe...
Who would actually do the research.
Yes.
Some additional workforce.
Who will support us. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, that was a great show. I'm extremely impressed about these topics. And I think we can be very proud of ourselves. So once more, it shows the potential of each of you, but it also shows the great planning, good group compositions, what diversity gives to creativity, and great facilitators. Stand up, all facilitators. Facilitators, stand up. Wake up. So I think this is, we are just starting something very exciting, and let's see where it goes and leads us, and when we will all meet again. But it seems that we are having these smaller meetings on the way already planned in the calendar. And well, I just have my terrible notes here, but something like the topics. Once more that you recall, and then maybe we have some comments. We have some time, like 20 minutes maybe we have? 15? Okay, yeah. Anyway, stretching journalistic professional identity, being a journalist or activist in a times of crisis. The role of fear in news management, what a topic. Ukrainian cultural identity through the media outlets in different European countries, great, and this information resilience as a challenge for higher education. Super good topics. I don't know what to say. I'm really impressed, and combinations of concepts that maybe haven't been combined together, and using, like, for example, fear in news management. That's really something revolutionary, I think. So I think we would like to hear how you felt during this trip, this intensive 2 days. Think that we did this all in 2 days and a few hours. And like I said, my heart was beating still when I was coming here, but it was great. And I think my experience was super positive. And like, you don't know the people, and all of a sudden you are sharing ideas. And I was thinking that the Ukrainian approach would be like, so different from like what I see, but there was no such thing. So making research is really universal, asking these questions and playing with concepts and ideas. So there are no borders. So how you felt? Some impressions. So we give you the microphone, and if you have any questions to each other, just do it now. We have a few minutes time. Any of you? Can I give to you a word?
Okay, I can improvise, yes. Well, first of all, thank you for this very kind invitation, and also Anna's very, I would say, sincere and very warm approach to all of us. We felt this during her emails, during our meetings we had online. I think that was the starting point when we felt attached, related, inspired also. So I'm fascinated by this great atmosphere. This is my first time. I already made this confession to my colleagues that there were lots of first times here. Emma, this my first time. University of Warsaw, my first time. You guys are my first time. And I really felt in love with this group, with my group second. Each and every one of you were and still are, and you will be my inspiration. And here I got even more inspiration from other groups. So I think this is a great partnership, great community, great team. You can continue in the times of uncertainties, wars, fears, because you feel love from each and attachment and yeah, these great emotions. Thank you very much. And I'm not sure whether I got the answer to your question. I'm trying to solve some kind of crisis in my work, but thank you so much. You are my inspiration today.
Any comments? If no, I could ask this fear group, how did you come up with this idea of fear? Okay, there's the...
It was there.
Our fear.
We are fearing him.
No, it's been on my mind for quite a while. I mentioned it to our group, but I've been, since the beginning of the war in Ukraine, but even prior to that, been thinking about what motivates people to kill. Because we're talking about war, but what we're talking about is somebody picking up a gun and killing somebody else. And we are either promoting or trying to stop these actions. And I think, you know, my college roommate is now a professor at Villanova University in the Center for Peace Studies, and he's a specialist in genocide. And he studied Rwanda, and I had a chat with Tim about this. And he's kind of unpicked how you turn to your neighbor to kill them, which is happening in Ukraine, it's happening in Israel, it's happening in, you know, lots of places. And the starting point for that, he identifies, is fear. What fears people have, and media play a role in that. But the opposite to that we've discovered and talked about is you act out of fear for the things you love. And that's what's been happening in this issue. People are fearful that the things they love, the national identities, their personal safety, their cultural life is under threat. And I think for us in media management, where there's an overlap between our business model of conflict, we promote and thrive. That's our business model. And we are part of the structural frame of fear. So it's been a question on my mind, and I was looking for some really great people to work with on it, and I'm just delighted that, like anything, it's gone in other directions and grown, and so that's where it comes from.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments? Any other questions? No. Do I have time still? One more? Oh, good. Great. Super.
Thank you. So I perfectly echo what the first comment was. The colder it got outside, the warmer it was in here. So it was very, very nice. And mine is just a very pragmatic proposal. I mentioned it to Anna, but maybe this would be a good setting to discuss it. I actually propose to open up the research directions that we mentioned to everyone, because we worked in teams, in groups, but we are actually a bigger group. And I think that while we were listening to others mentioning what they came up with, maybe we had, renewed interest in something. So maybe Anna and the wonderful team from the University of Warsaw could facilitate this for us, and maybe we can enlarge the cooperation more. I work with a few colleagues. I'm the only one here, but I work with more, and I know that they would be interested in engaging with some of the topics. They are so interesting, so I would just make this very pragmatic proposal, but I think, yeah, could work. Yeah.
Päivi, may I join you here on stage? I have an unbiased perspective on these working groups because I didn't take part. I was lazy. Yeah, and you said, Päivi, you can be proud. Indeed, you can be proud, all of you. I collected some impressions across all groups, and they were overwhelmingly positive, entirely positive. And I'm so happy to hear that, because we embarked on this new format with the hope to achieve at least some intangible outcomes, foster new, maybe not friendships yet, but people met who haven't met before. You came up with new ideas for projects, and so this enthusiasm was all the time visible. It was actually quite tangible also. From an EMMA perspective, and I'm most grateful for that this happened, I want to first of all thank the hosts. Where is Michal, you see? And Anna for making this possible. So what's the success factor actually that made you so enthusiastic about this workshop? Well, I think it's, first of all, and that's a very simple answer, it's an extremely well-prepared exercise. You knew exactly what you wanted to do, so you were well-prepared, and all the facilitators, they showed outstanding leadership, yeah, in a very friendly way, but you gave direction, and you mentioned that, I think, Päivi, diversity. Yeah? People who didn't know each other, they stimulate new ideas. Some knew each other, so this mix of different levels of familiarity to each other, but also this different perspective. A region that was so far uncharted by EMMA. We brought together colleagues from so many new countries to EMMA, with the more regular visitors to conferences from the north, the west, the center of Europe together. So I'm most grateful, and I think this deserves a great applause to you and your team, Anna, Michal, and but I think, I'm not yet through. Apart from these more intangible outcomes, community building, ideas that were generated, there will also be quite tangible outcomes. There is this special issue of JOMS with a deadline already by the end of March, so that's quite a tough deadline. I hope that you, and that we have seen that you developed ideas to contribute, and this will be a significant contribution to a, as yet, quite under-researched area, and could pave the way for a more thorough elaboration on managing media or making media in times of crisis in general, with a specific case in point. So this is one outcome, and we hope also, I already got some expressions of interest, that we will grow ultimately the membership base of EMMA. We invite you all to also submit your ideas that you developed and that might still be vague to our call for papers for the next conference in the Netherlands. And some of the ideas might not be as developed yet to be presented as a paper. We invite this time also for the next conference special sessions. So these workshops might deserve a submission for a special session to be further work to further work on project ideas, to come together again in your groups as you came together here over these 2 days. And this deadline is still, Anna, when do we have this deadline for the EMMA conference? It's, I think, in December or January, yeah? So there is more time to go on with that. So now what's going to happen with EMMA Hub? I think it was a very successful format. We have seen that this format works. We can learn also from that. And as I said in the beginning of this event, this won't be the last EMMA Hub. This is just the starting point. And we encourage you now, and I call you, Anna, now in a different role here on stage. Anna is also a board member with EMMA. And we want to think about how we're going to develop the next EMMA Hubs. And we encourage you, I think it's very important to go on with this joint learning curve that you set up here. So we would encourage you, the participants of this conference, to come up with your ideas. How could we carry further the topic we had here? Of course, it should go beyond the specific situation. And you developed, whether it's democratic backsliding, the idea of the fear that François brought about, but there are many more. So Anna and also me and the EMMA colleagues would be happy to be a facilitator to further develop new topics. And Anna, maybe you could specify how we're going to bring this forward, and then develop not only ideas or themes, but we also need a location. This was a fantastic location. We would like to stay in the region to promote also this strategic idea of EMMA to reach out to the southeast. And you're most welcome also to submit your expression of interest as a future host of the next EMMA Hub. Okay. Anna, maybe you want to give some more instructions on how we actually do that and collect these ideas?
Yes, of course. Of course, so first of all, thank you very much that you stay with us for such a long time and that you work well. It was a risk because it's a brand new format, but I'm so surprised in such a positive way, and I'm so astonished because of the, now I have to wear my glasses. Because of the results, because of the research questions and the networking and such a positive atmosphere that surrounds us and is among us. So thank you very much, and I vote to you very, very low as I can. Thank you very much. And you are always, warmly welcomed in the walls of University of Warsaw in Poland, but of course in EMMA too. First, small announcement, really small announcement regarding today's evening, just to remind you that we have a socializing part, and well, it's not over. Yes, we're going to socialize. So we meet at 6:15 in front of this building, and then we go to our official dinner. But you know, it's not a gala dinner. It's something more like informal. But then, if somebody will still have power or want to deep more, you know, into the city, we have a special place already booked in a Norbin factory. This is a very nice place in Warsaw, very modern and very fashionable. So we have a place at 11 p.m. It's a good hour. At 11 p.m. You are, of course, most welcome there. They have a very good selection of different drinks and different food, and the place is very astonishing, and you are very most welcome. We will give you the address via our app. So this is the very important part for today. And of course, regarding the EMA Hub and the things that wait for us, I think that very interesting part will be the EMA talk on democratic backsliding and the media insights from the overlooked regions. And I know that Iliam will take part there, me and myself will take part there. But I think we will use this EMA talk also to summarize and to sum up our achievements during the EMA Hub. Additional thing which is very important, we want to know your feedback. I mean, we know your feedback a little bit. It's very, you know, uplifting, and it's very good feedback. I couldn't even imagine and dream of this. However, I know that maybe we missed something out. Like there are maybe some bits and pieces that should be improved for the future organizer. Maybe you would like to, you know, have some things more developed. Yes, so we will give you the floor, we will give you the voice, and we will prepare. I'm not promising that during the next week, because we have to rest a little bit, but we will prepare a questionnaire. We will send you this questionnaire out with a huge request for filling this in, and we will, you know, of course, give you the results. We will show you the results because everything is transparent. But of course, we will also give the results to the future organizer. We will also create a platform for it would be a kind of idea market, which is really inspired by Anka. So we will create this idea market just to see what we really have achieved. We will give you the access to all presentation that we saw today, and maybe this is also a very nice kickoff to the future very different collaborations, not only within our workshop groups, but basically without like transnational, transboundaries collaborations, and this will be held on EMA's and EMA Hub's platform. Of course, we will share you the summary of our 2 days events, so there are people that are responsible for writing the summary, and you will get this summary quite soon. This I can promise, along with the photos, of course, because there were photographers, and our beautiful students also made the photos and short video clips, so we will, of course, share this with you. And of course, if you, you know, have anything, like any questions, please just let's stay in touch. We will be happy to answer. And what is the last thing for EMA 2024? We said, I feel like it was, you know, one year ago, but yesterday we said that we have a special discussion panel which is connected with EMA Hub. But really, we can, as Castellus said, we can submit more thematic session panels, because now I can see that we have more than 4 topics. We have like plenty of topics. We have books to write, and monographs to write. So you are most welcome to submit thematic session panels. Definitely more than 1, more than 4 to the next EMA conference. So thank you very much. And once again, thank you to everybody that really put their heart and soul in organizing this stuff, and to you that you came to us. Thank you.
So, and now before we close, all the colleagues, all come. So your colleagues prepared something for you and Michael. Please, Michael.
On behalf of the colleagues, I want to thank you both for this great idea,
the inception, the detailing, and the realization of this event, and you well deserve it.
Yes. Well, I start with you first because you know, thank you.
Come here on stage, all the colleagues, please, come. Yes, you can open it. You might need it now.
Yeah, I think you need it for...
After these 2 days.
Okay, thank you. It's a massage. I'm gonna need it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good.